1. Grapes light on fire in the microwave. Back in 2011, a physicist at the University of Sydney went viral after he placed a grape in the microwave and filmed the fiery aftermath. And oddly enough, scientists couldn't explain the phenomenon until quite recently. A March 2019 study published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences reported that the fruity fireball occurs as a result of the loose electrons and ions that cluster to form plasma when grapes get hot. 2. There are almost 8 million possible 7-digit phone numbers per area code. Each area code has 792 possible prefixes or NXX codes, for example, NXX4X or 5551234 explains the Public Utility Commission of Texas. And each NXX has 10,000 possible phone numbers attached to it. So, with a little math, we know that theoretically, there are 7,920,000 possible 7-digit phone numbers in each area code. Obviously, not all of these numbers are put into use, so you don't have to try nearly 8 million numbers if you want to randomly dial a friend who lives nearby. 3. Spaghetto, confetto, and graffito are the singular forms of spaghetti, confetti, and graffiti. Although it might sound a little strange, the word for an individual piece of spaghetti is spaghetto. The same goes for a single piece of confetti, which is confetto, as well as a single piece of graffiti, which is graffito, according to Merriam-Webster. 4. McDonald's once created bubblegum-flavored broccoli. McDonald's is always introducing new items for their loyal customers. And obviously, some are more successful than others. But their bubblegum-flavored broccoli, which the fast food chain developed in 2014 as a tastier version of the leafy green for children, was a complete failure. McDonald's CEO Don Thompson admitted that kids were confused by the taste. 5. The average mammal takes 21 seconds to empty its bladder. No one will blame you if you've never bothered to time yourself on the toilet. But you may be interested to know that researchers from the Georgia Institute of Technology found that most mammals weighing more than 6 pounds take 21 seconds to pee. According to Live Science, this oddly consistent time is due to the fact that the urethra is appropriately scaled to be a flow-enhancing device. And apparently, the perfectly enhanced flow takes 21 seconds to complete. 6. Chewing gum is banned in Singapore. Along with having laws against spitting and urinating anywhere but in a toilet, which you're then legally obligated to flush if it's a public washroom, Singapore has also banned chewing gum in an effort to keep the city clean and orderly. The ban was established in 1992. In 2004, exceptions were made for therapeutic, dental, or nicotine gums. 7. The average US household has 300,000 things in it. Whether you've been inspired by Marie Kondo or not, you probably still have close to 1/3 items in your home. One report found that the average US house has around 300,000 things in it. Yeah, we like stuff. Lots of stuff. 8. The 1939 novel Gatsby is the longest book ever published that doesn't contain the letter E. Back in 1939, American author Ernest Vincent Wright published Gatsby, a 50,000-word novel that doesn't use the letter E once. What's more, it's not the only novel that ditched the letter. Author Georges Perec also wrote the French-language book La Disparition without the letter E in 1969. That's even more astounding when you consider that E is the most commonly used letter in the English and French language. And these are the 23 words you need to stop mispronouncing. 9. Lobsters have clear blood. Most of us are well aware that lobster shells change color when exposed to heat, like in a pot of boiling water, for example. But the sea creature's blood is also intriguing. Lobster blood is initially clear and turns blue when it hits oxygen. 10. The first item sold on eBay was a broken laser pointer. Buyer beware, as they say. Thankfully, buyer Mark Fraser was apparently aware of the fact that he was getting a broken laser pointer when he purchased it for $14.83 from eBay's founder Pierre Omidyar in 1995. 11. Japan is suffering from a ninja shortage. If you ever dreamed of being a ninja, now might be the time to make it a reality. The Japanese city of Iga, which has a rich history of martial arts masters and claims to be the birthplace of the ninja, suffered from a ninja shortage in 2018, despite the fact that they're willing to pay salaries as high as $85,000 for the performative ninjas willing to take on the job of staffing their annual ninja festival. 12. The longest place name in the world is 85 letters long. Unfortunately, this is one of the facts you probably can't repeat to your friends, and that's because it's nearly impossible to pronounce. Taumata Whakatangi Hangako Au Otomateapuia Finwai Fenuikatanatahu is in New Zealand and is 85 letters long. 13. There was a prehistoric dragonfly that's wings spanned more than 2 feet. More than 300 million years ago, the Meganeura established itself as the largest known flying insect to ever exist on Earth. The dragonfly-like creature had a wingspan that stretched around 2.5 feet. The bugs were also big enough to hunt prey like frogs and newts, which it could eat with its teeth like mandibles. 14. Bubble wrap was originally invented as wallpaper. If you can't wait to pop every air-filled pocket the minute you pull a piece of bubble wrap out of a package, can you imagine how irresistible it would be if it were covering your walls? Engineer Al Fielding and Swiss inventor Marc Chavans probably didn't consider that when, in 1957, they invented bubble wrap while trying to create a textured wallpaper by sealing 2 shower curtains together to trap air bubbles. 15. Shakespeare invented more than 1,700 words. Shakespeare wrote some of the most beloved and revered pieces of literature the world has ever known, but in order to craft his plays and poems, he sometimes resorted to making up his own words. In fact, the bard is said to have come up with more than 1,700 words including moonbeam, laughable, eyeball, bump, puking, champion, bedroom, excitement, and zany. 16. Santa Claus was given an official pilot's license in 1927. When Santa Claus makes his trip around the world on Christmas Eve, you can rest assured that he's legally allowed to drive his sleigh, at least in the United States. In 1927, the jolly man in the red suit was given a pilot's license from the Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Aeronautics William P. MacCracken. According to the Library of Congress, the old saint called at the Commerce Department in Washington, and when he arrived, his picture was taken as he was given his license, airway maps, and the assurance that the lights would be burning on the airways on Christmas Eve. 17. Einstein's brain was stolen when he died. When Nobel Prize-winning physicist Albert Einstein passed away on April 18, 1955, he left behind specific instructions when it came to the disposal of his body, according to one National Geographic investigation. Einstein didn't want his corpse to be worshipped or his brain to be studied, so he instructed those who were responsible for his remains to cremate them and scatter the ashes secretly in order to discourage idolaters. However, Thomas Harvey, the pathologist on call when Einstein died at New Jersey's Princeton Hospital, didn't quite follow those instructions. Instead, he stole Einstein's brain. From there, things got even weirder. When Einstein's family found out, his son apparently didn't object to the theft and Harvey was able to keep the brain in 2 jars in his basement before moving it to a cider box stashed under a beer cooler. 18. A single watermelon once sold for $6,125. In 2008, a man in Japan bought a nearly black Densuke watermelon for 650,000 yen or $6,125. The specialty fruit is only grown on the island of Hokkaido and, according to a Japanese agricultural expert in the Los Angeles Times, is crisp and hard with a different level of sweetness than the watermelon we're used to eating. 19. A Brazilian man was killed in bed when a cow fell through the roof and landed on him. In 2013, João Maria de Souza was lying in bed when a cow that had been grazing on a hill behind his house walked onto the asbestos roof and fell through, landing on de Souza, according to the BBC. The injured man was taken to a hospital where he later passed away. As strange as this incident might seem, locals claim that it was the 3rd time a similar thing had happened in the area in the past 3 years, although no one was killed the first 2 times. 20. Scientists made a nanoguitar, the size of a human blood cell. Cornell University researchers carved the tiny musical instrument out of crystalline silicon and claim that it's the world's smallest nanoguitar, at 10 micrometers long. The guitar's 6 strings are each about 50 nanometers, 100 atoms wide. And while it was made for fun to illustrate the technology, it also demonstrates how this tech could be used in fiber optics, displays, sensors, and electronics. 21. The top speed of the winning car in the first U.S. race was 7 miles per hour. Frank Duryea reached a top speed of 7 miles per hour when he raced the second car he had ever built with his brother, Charles, on Thanksgiving Day, November 27, 1895. The Chicago Times-Herald sponsored race featured a 54-mile course that ran from downtown Chicago to Evanston and back. 22. Antarctica is covered in a sheet of ice that's 7,000 feet thick. For reference, that's about 19 football fields. The U.S. Antarctic program also notes that if the ice sheet ever suddenly melted, it would raise the sea level worldwide an estimated 200 feet and submerge much of the Gulf and Atlantic coastal areas of the U.S. 23. Arachibutyrophobia is the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. It's pretty common to be afraid of heights and scared of spiders, but if you have arachibutyrophobia, you're among the smaller group of people that suffer from a fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of their mouths. This phobia is often connected to a fear of choking or a fear of sticky textures, but it can also be its own isolated fear. 24. Crowds at one Louisiana State University football game once cheered so loudly that it registered as an earthquake on a local seismograph. The game, which took place between LSU and Auburn University, took place in front of a crowd of 79,431 fans at LSU's Tiger Stadium. The crowd's reaction to the game's final pass registered as an earthquake by a seismograph located around 1,000 feet from the stadium. A seismologist noticed the reading the next day and the game went down in LSU history as the earthquake game. 25. There's a Guinness World Record for the stretchiest skin. Gary Turner from the UK holds the Guinness World Record for the stretchiest skin thanks to the fact that he can extend the skin on his stomach 15.8 centimeters. Turner is capable of such an elastic-like feat thanks to a collagen-defective condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. The Good Place actress Jamila Jamil recently confirmed that she also has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, even demonstrating the stretchiness of her skin on social media.